The knife pressed cold against Adanna's throat as rain hammered the Seoul alleyway. Two men had her cornered, their Korean words sharp and threatening even though she couldn't understand them. Her heart slammed against her ribs as she raised her hands in surrender, designer heels slipping on wet pavement. "Please," she whispered. "I don't know anything about my father's debt." The taller man grabbed her arm, his grip bruising. "Your father owes Kang Jae-won 600 million won. He ran back to Nigeria like a coward. Now you pay." Before Adanna could scream, a black van screeched around the corner. Hands yanked her inside. The door slammed shut, trapping her in darkness that smelled of leather and expensive cologne. Her pulse thundered in her ears as the vehicle moved through neon-lit streets. This couldn't be happening. Not to her. Not in Seoul, where she'd come to study nursing, to build a better life than the one waiting in Lagos. The van stopped. Someone pulled a hood over her head. She stumbled forward, guided by rough hands through what felt like a building, then an elevator that climbed and climbed. When the hood came off, she stood in a penthouse that belonged in a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased Seoul's glittering skyline. Marble floors reflected crystal chandeliers. And across the room, sitting behind a desk that probably cost more than her entire education, was the man who'd bought her father's soul. Kang Jae-won looked nothing like the monster she'd imagined. At 38, he wore power like other men wore cologne, effortless and intoxicating. His tailored Tom Ford suit emphasized broad shoulders. Sharp cheekbones caught the light. A scar along his jaw suggested violence, but his dark eyes held something worse than cruelty. They held calculation, intelligence, control. "Miss Okafor." His English carried only the faintest Korean accent. "Please, sit." "I'd rather stand." Her voice shook despite her attempt at defiance. "Then stand." He poured whiskey into 2 glasses, utterly calm. "Your father, Emmanuel Okafor, borrowed money from my organization. He promised repayment in 90 days. Today is day 91. I didn't know about any loan." "Of course you didn't." He slid a photograph across the desk. Airport security footage. Her father boarding a flight. "But he knew. He knew when he took my money to import pharmaceuticals from Nigeria. He knew when that shipment got seized. He knew when he boarded that plane yesterday, leaving you behind to settle his accounts." The betrayal hit harder than any physical blow. Her father had abandoned her. Left her to face this alone. "I don't have 600 million won, Adanna said quietly. "Obviously." Jae-won stood, moved to the window. Seoul sprawled beneath them like a kingdom. "Which brings us to your options. Option 1. You work in an establishment I'm associated with near the American military base in Osan. You're beautiful, exotic. The soldiers would pay well. 8 years, maybe less if you're popular, and the debt clears." Bile rose in her throat. "You're talking about prostitution. I'm talking about economics." He turned to face her. "Option 2, you marry me." Silence crashed between them. Adanna stared, certain she'd misheard. "Marry you? I'm expanding operations into West Africa. A Nigerian wife provides legitimacy, cultural connections, business opportunities." He approached slowly, a predator assessing prey. "As my wife, you live here. In luxury. Your debt disappears. You continue your nursing studies if you wish. You have freedom within reasonable boundaries." "Reasonable boundaries? That's called a prison." "Perhaps." His eyes held hers. "But some prisons have silk sheets and security. Others have stained mattresses and violence. You have 10 seconds to choose, Miss Okafor." Her mind raced. The brothel meant certain destruction. Marriage to this man meant uncertain captivity. But at least captivity left room for survival, for escape, for something other than being passed between strangers until she broke. "If I marry you," she forced the words out, "you won't force yourself on me." Something flickered in his expression. Almost respect. "I don't force women. When you come to my bed, it will be because you choose to. Then you'll wait forever." His smile held no warmth. "We'll see." He opened a closet. Inside hung a wedding hanbok in pristine white, sized exactly for her body. I've been preparing for this conversation for 3 weeks, Miss Okafor. Since the day your father took my money. I always collect my debts. Terror crystallized in her chest. He'd been planning this. Watching her. Waiting. How did you know I'd choose you? Because you're intelligent enough to recognize the lesser evil. He checked his watch. The ceremony is in 1 hour. My staff will help you prepare. Don't try to run. My men are everywhere, and Seoul is very large for someone who doesn't speak Korean. 3 older Korean women dressed Adanna like a doll, their hands efficient and impersonal. The white hanbok felt like a shroud. They painted her face with makeup that made her look like someone else. Someone who'd chosen this. When tears ruined the cosmetics, they simply reapplied them. The ceremony took place in a private hanok in Bukhan district as dawn broke over Seoul. Traditional architecture, peaceful gardens, everything beautiful except the truth of what was happening. Only 4 people attended. Jae-won's attorney, 2 stone-faced enforcers, and the terrified officiant who rushed through Korean vows Adanna didn't understand. A translator whispered in her ear. Say yes now. She hesitated. Jae-won's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The threat was clear. Yes, she whispered. When he placed the ring on her finger, his movements were deliberate. The platinum band embedded with diamonds felt cold. But his touch wasn't. As he slid the ring home, his thumb traced the inside of her wrist, finding her racing pulse. The intimacy of the gesture shocked her. His eyes met hers, and something shifted in their depths. Not cold anymore. Hungry. Her breath caught. She tried to pull away but his fingers tightened briefly, holding her in place, before releasing. The officiant's voice trembled. You may kiss the bride. Jae-won stepped closer, crowding her space. He cupped her face with both hands, giving her nowhere to look except into eyes that saw too much. The kiss started soft, testing, almost gentle. Then it deepened. Possessive. Claiming. His hand slid to the back of her neck, fingers threading through her hair. She made a small sound, fear and something she refused to name, and felt his response in the way he pulled her closer. When he finally released her, she was breathless and furious at her body's betrayal. Mine, he murmured against her lips. The word should have terrified her. Instead, it sent heat pooling low in her belly, and that terrified her more. The black Mercedes waited outside, engine purring. Jae-won helped her inside with a hand on her lower back that felt proprietary, like he was already cataloguing what he'd purchased. They drove through Seoul as morning light painted the city gold. He watched her profile while she stared out the window, his attention so focused she felt it like a physical touch. You're quiet, he said. What do you want me to say? Thank you for forcing me into marriage. I want you to understand that I could have done much worse. She turned to face him. Is that supposed to comfort me? It's supposed to be truth. His phone buzzed repeatedly. He ignored it, keeping his attention on her. Today, nothing is more important than making sure you understand what you are to me now. And what am I? Property. You're my wife. He said it like it explained everything. That means something in my world. The penthouse occupied the entire 68th floor of a Gangnam high-rise. When the elevator doors opened, Adanna's breath caught despite her anger. Marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased Seoul in every direction. Modern Korean art decorated walls. Everything screamed wealth and power and a life she'd never imagined. This is your home now, Jae-won said. She turned on him. No. This is my prison. He stepped closer, backing her against the window. Seoul glittered behind her, beautiful and unreachable. If it is, it's the most beautiful prison in the city. And I'm the only one with the key. His hand came up, traced her jawline with unexpected gentleness. Your room is down that hall. Private bathroom. The door locks if you wish. I won't enter without permission. And if I never give permission? He leaned close, lips nearly brushing her ear. Then I'll wait. But know this, Adanna. His use of her first name sent shivers down her spine. I'm a patient man. And I always get what I want. Eventually. He pulled back, leaving her trembling against the glass. Sleep well, Wife. Tomorrow, your new life begins. 3 days passed in strange isolation. Adanna saw Jae-won only in glimpses. He left early for business, returned late, never approaching her room. But evidence of his attention appeared everywhere. Breakfast arrived each morning with both Korean banchan and jollof rice, the Nigerian dish perfectly prepared. The library held books by her favorite authors, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and Chinua Achebe, their spines uncracked and waiting. Someone had researched her, studied her preferences, anticipated her needs. It should have comforted her. Instead, it unsettled her bones. On the 4th night, restless and unable to sleep, Adanna explored the penthouse. She found Jae-won's study door unlocked. Inside, dark wood furniture and a wall of security monitors created an atmosphere of controlled surveillance. His desk held neat stacks of files. One caught her eye. Her name in block letters. Okafor, Adanna. Surveillance. Her hands shook as she opened it. Photographs spilled out. Dozens of them. Her walking to university 6 weeks ago. Buying groceries in Itaewon. Studying in a cafe in Hongdae. Laughing with friends outside church. Every photo dated and time-stamped. Notes in his handwriting accompanied each image. Subject shows academic discipline. 3.8 GPA. Attends Catholic church regularly. Strong faith foundation. Works part-time at Seoul National University Hospital. Respected by colleagues. No romantic attachments observed. Assessment: intelligent, resilient, morally grounded. Suitable. Horror crawled up her spine. He hadn't just agreed to marry her after her father's death. He'd chosen her. Hunted her. The debt was just the mechanism. Not stalking, a voice said behind her. Research. She spun around. Jae-won stood in the doorway, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked tired but dangerously handsome. She was furious and terrified in equal measure. You've been watching me for 6 weeks. Her voice rose. Before my father even took your money. Did you give him the loan knowing he'd fail? Did you set this entire thing up? He stepped into the room, closing the door with a quiet click. Your father came to me desperate. His request was legitimate. But yes, I knew he'd default. Men like him always do. Weak. Greedy. Predictable. So you used him to get to me? Why? Why me? Because I've watched Seoul's underworld destroy girls like you for 15 years. He moved closer. Girls with dreams, with potential, crushed by their father's mistakes. I'm tired of watching it happen. So this is charity. You're my savior? No. He stopped inches away. I'm selfish. I wanted you. From the first time I saw you in that cafe in Hongdae 42 days ago. You were laughing at something your friend said. Real laughter. Everything in my world is calculated, fake, transactional. But you were genuine. So you bought me like a painting you liked. His voice hardened. I saved you. Your father was going to lose that loan to Dmitry Belyakov. Russian mob. They don't marry defaulters' daughters. They auction them. Moscow, Dubai, places where Nigerian girls disappear forever. I intercepted the debt before he could. So yes, I bought you. But I also saved you. You still took my choice. He closed the remaining distance, trapping her against the desk. You never had a choice. At least with me, you're safe. Safe. I'm owned. Yes. You are. His eyes burned into hers. And I take care of what's mine. They were too close. She could smell his cologne, see the pulse beating in his throat, feel the heat radiating from his body. Her breathing quickened. His gaze dropped to her lips. I hate you, she whispered. I know. His thumb brushed her lower lip. But you don't hate this. The touch sent electricity through her. She should pull away. Should run. But her body betrayed her, leaning infinitesimally closer. I hate that when you touch me, I feel. She stopped herself. Feel what? His voice roughened. Confused. I'm not confused. His other hand came up to cup her face. I know exactly what I feel when I touch you. He leaned in. She froze, torn between fear and something dangerously close to desire. His phone buzzed loudly on the desk, shattering the moment. He stepped back, jaw clenched, and checked the screen. His expression darkened. I have to go. Business. He grabbed his jacket. Don't leave the penthouse tonight. Why? What's happening? He paused at the door. Rivals know I got married. They'll want to test my vulnerabilities. Stay inside. The security system is armed. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with her racing heart and the terrifying realization that part of her had wanted that kiss. 1 week after the forced wedding, Adanna convinced her bodyguards to let her return to university. I'm not quitting my degree, she told them firmly. Tell your boss I'm going with or without you. They called Jae-won. To her surprise, he agreed. But you don't leave their sight. Ever. Seoul National University felt like freedom after a week of captivity. Adanna breathed deeper as she walked through campus, even with 2 suited men trailing her like shadows. In the nursing department, her best friend Kyoma ambushed her outside the lecture hall. Where have you been? Kyoma demanded in rapid Igbo. You missed exams. You weren't answering calls. I almost filed a missing persons report. Her eyes dropped to Adanna's hand. What is that? Is that a wedding ring? Adanna, did you get married? The concern in her friend's voice nearly broke her. Yes. To who? You weren't even dating anyone. Adanna lowered her voice. Kang Jae-won. Kyoma went pale. The loan shark. The Ice King. Adanna, what happened? My father destroyed me, and Jae-won picked up the pieces. The words tasted bitter. I don't know if he saved me or imprisoned me. Maybe both. We need to get you help. The embassy, the police. It's too late. Adanna glanced at her bodyguards. This is my life now. I just need to survive it. That evening, Adanna studied alone in the university library, bodyguards stationed outside. She was so focused on her anatomy textbook that she didn't notice someone sit across from her until he spoke. You're Adanna Okafor, right? Nursing major? She looked up into warm brown eyes and an easy smile. The man appeared around 28, handsome in a clean-cut way, with a prosecutor's badge visible on his bag. Yes. Do I know you? Park Minute J. I'm in law school but I sit in on nursing ethics lectures sometimes. Helps with my work. He gestured to his badge. I'm a prosecutor. Organized crime division. Every muscle in Adanna's body tensed. This was dangerous. I should go. Wait, please. His voice softened. I know you recently married Kang Jae-won. I also know you didn't marry him willingly. Your father's debt, the circumstances. I've been building a case against Jae-won's organization for 2 years. You might be able to help. I'm not informing on my husband. Even though he forced you into marriage? Minute J leaned forward. I can protect you. Witness protection, new identity, safe passage back to Nigeria. You can be free. Part of her wanted that desperately. Freedom. Home. Her old life. But another part, the part she didn't want to examine, remembered Jae-won's gentleness when he thought she wasn't watching. The books he'd bought her. The way he looked at her like she mattered. Why would you help me? Because you don't belong in his world. You're good. And good people shouldn't be trapped by monsters. He slid a business card across the table. Think about it. When you're ready to leave, call me. I'll handle the rest. After he left, Adanna stared at the card. She picked it up, tucked it into her purse. She didn't notice her bodyguard on his phone outside, speaking urgently in Korean. The penthouse felt different when she returned. Charged. Dangerous. Jae-won waited in the living room, drinking whiskey, anger radiating from him like heat. Show me your purse. Excuse me? Your purse. Show me. He stood, approaching with predatory grace. No. You don't get to. He reached for it. She pulled back. They struggled briefly, nothing violent but intensely physical, before his superior strength won. He found Minute J's card immediately. Park Minute J. Prosecutor. Organized Crime Division. His voice was deadly calm as he read. Interesting choice of friends. He approached me. I didn't seek him out. But you kept his card. He looked at her, eyes blazing. Were you planning to call him? To betray me? Her anger exploded. Betray you? You can't betray someone who kidnapped you. This isn't a real marriage. I don't owe you loyalty. The whiskey glass shattered against the wall. You are my wife. You wear my ring. You live in my home. You are mine. I'm not property. Then why do you respond when I touch you? He crossed to her in 3 strides, crowding her space. You think I don't notice? Your breath catches when I'm close. Your pupils dilate when I look at you. You leaned into me that night in my study. I hate you. Liar. He was right in her face now, overwhelming. You hate that you feel something for me. I hate that I'm confused. That sometimes I forget to be afraid. That when you're gone, She stopped. You what? His voice dropped dangerously low. I miss you. The confession tore from her throat. And I hate myself for it. Something broke between them. He cupped her face with both hands. Don't call him. Don't betray me. I'll give you whatever you need, but don't choose him. Why does it matter so much? Because you're the first real thing I've had in 20 years. His voice roughened with emotion. Because I look at you and feel something I thought died. Because the thought of you leaving makes me want to burn Seoul to keep you here. That's not love. That's obsession. Maybe that's all I know how to give. But it's yours. Every dark, broken piece. She kissed him. Desperate, confused, but deliberate. He responded like a starving man, backing her against the wall. His hands tangled in her hair, gripped her waist, possessive and consuming. When his mouth moved to her neck, she gasped. Tell me to stop and I will, he breathed against her skin. Don't stop. He carried her to his bedroom, kicked the door shut. What happened next erased the careful distance they'd maintained. Clothes fell away. Hands explored. Bodies joined with desperate urgency. He whispered in Korean against her skin, words she didn't understand but felt in her soul. When it was over, they lay tangled together, his arm locked around her like even in sleep he couldn't let go. Say you're mine, he'd demanded at the height of passion. I'm yours, she'd whispered back, and meant it. Now, in the quiet aftermath, she traced the scar on his jaw. How did you get this? I was 19. Working as an enforcer. Someone tried to kill my boss. I took the knife meant for his throat. He rewarded me by teaching me the business. When he retired, he gave me everything. You've been doing this for 19 years. I've been surviving for 19 years. There's a difference. What made you like this? His pause stretched long. My father beat my mother to death when I was 7. Then he turned on me. At 12, I killed him in self-defense. No one cared. Juvenile detention until 18. I came out harder than I went in. I learned that power protects you. Money protects you. Fear protects you. Love makes you vulnerable. Is that why you don't believe in love? He looked at her with devastating intensity. I didn't. Until you. He pulled her closer, buried his face in her hair. Don't leave me. Whatever you do, don't choose him. She felt his heart racing, realized with shock that this dangerous man was afraid. I won't call him. I promise. But as he fell asleep, she stared at the ceiling, conflicted. She'd promised not to call the prosecutor. But she hadn't promised not to plan her escape. 2 weeks later, Jae-won surprised her with an invitation to a charity gala. Seoul's elite will be there. You need to be introduced properly as my wife. He'd had a gown custom-made, emerald silk that hugged her curves and made her feel beautiful for the first time in weeks. When she emerged from her room, he stopped mid-sentence in his phone conversation, staring at her with an expression that stole her breath. You're devastating, he said roughly, ending his call without saying goodbye. He fastened an emerald necklace around her throat from behind, his fingers lingering on her skin. Everyone needs to know that touching you means war. The Schiller Hotel ballroom glittered with Seoul's most powerful people. Politicians, business leaders, crime families wearing respectability like expensive suits. Heads turned when they entered. Whispers followed. That's Kang Jae-won's new wife. She's African. Beautiful though. I heard he bought her. Jae-won's hand pressed possessively against her lower back. Ignore them. They're jealous. A woman approached, designer gown perfect, smile sharp as knives. Jae-won oppa, it's been too long. Ji-won. His voice went cold. The woman, Yo Ji-won, turned calculating eyes on Adanna. This must be the new wife. How unexpected. Unexpected? Adanna picked up the slight immediately. Just that Jae-won and I were together for 3 years. I thought when he settled down, it would be with someone more traditional. Someone Korean. Someone who understands this world. No offense. Adanna found her spine. None taken. Though I'm surprised he didn't settle with you. You seem perfect, traditional, understanding, Korean. What went wrong? She paused deliberately. Oh, I know. You weren't worth keeping. Jae-won's lips quirked, fighting a smile. That's enough, Ji-won. Leave. Enjoy it while it lasts, dear, Ji-won said sweetly. His interests are fleeting. After she left, Jae-won pulled Adanna closer. You're magnificent when you're angry. Then she saw him. Park Minute J near the bar, making deliberate eye contact. Jae-won was pulled away by a business associate. 5 minutes. Don't move. Minute J approached the moment Jae-won was out of sight. Mrs. Kang. You look beautiful. You shouldn't be talking to me. I'm a prosecutor at a charity event. It's not suspicious. He lowered his voice. Have you thought about my offer? His eyes caught the faint mark on her neck, a love bite she'd tried to hide with makeup. I see. He's gotten to you. You don't know anything about my marriage. I know Stockholm Syndrome when I see it. Adanna, he's a criminal. When his enemies come for him and you'll be collateral damage. I'm offering you a way out. Why do you care so much? Intensity burned in his eyes. Because I've dedicated my life to taking down men like him. And because you deserve better than being owned. The conversation is over. Jae-won's voice cut between them like a blade. He appeared from nowhere, crossing the space in seconds. Prosecutor Park. What a surprise. Mr. Kang. Just making conversation. We're leaving. Jae-won's hand wrapped around Adanna's wrist. Already? The night is young. Jae-won stepped closer to Minute J, voice dropping to lethal quiet. Touch her. Talk to her. Look at her again. And I'll make you disappear in ways even your prosecutor friends won't find the pieces. Threatening a prosecutor at a public event. Bold. Not a threat. A promise. In the car, tension crackled between them. What did he say? He asked if I'd reconsidered. And I told him you're my husband. Jae-won looked at her sharply. You defended me. I don't know why. I do. Because you're starting to feel what I feel. Like you'd burn the world to keep me. He pulled her across the seat into his lap, kissed her desperately. You're mine. Say it. Yours. Again. I'm yours, Jae-won. They were still tangled together when his phone rang repeatedly. Finally he answered, annoyed. This better be. His face changed completely. When? How many? I'll be there in 10 minutes. What's wrong? He grabbed a gun from the car's hidden compartment. The Russians. They hit one of my warehouses. Dimitri's sending a message. He kissed her hard. Don't open the door for anyone. Security is on high alert. I'll be back in 2 hours. He left. Adanna waited in the penthouse, anxiety building as hours passed without word. 2 hours became 3, then 4. She wasn't afraid for herself anymore. She was terrified something had happened to him. When had that changed? At R5, crashes echoed from outside. Gunfire. Her bodyguard burst in. Mrs. Kang, get to the panic room now. The apartment door exploded inward. Men in tactical gear flooded in. Her bodyguards fought back, outnumbered. She ran for the panic room but someone grabbed her hair, yanking her backward. She screamed. Watched her bodyguard shot in front of her. A needle jabbed her neck. The world went hazy. Package secured. Moving to secondary location. Darkness swallowed her. Adanna woke zip-tied to a metal chair in an abandoned warehouse. The smell of rust and decay filled her nose. 5 figures stood in shadows. A voice with a Russian accent spoke from the darkness. "Ah, she wakes. Welcome, Mrs. Kang." A scarred man emerged into the light. Dmitry Belyakov circled her like prey. "Do you know who I am?" "No," she whispered, fighting terror. "I'm the man your husband stole from. You were supposed to be mine. Your father's debt was sold to me legally, but Kang Jae-won paid more, took what I'd already purchased. I'm not property." He laughed, touched her face. She flinched away. "Such spirit. I see why he wanted you. But now you're mine again. And I'll use you to destroy him." He explained his plan with casual cruelty. "Send photos. Lure Jae-won into a trap. Kill him. Take his empire. And Adanna would wish she'd died with him." "He'll kill you all," she said with more confidence than she felt. "We'll see." Then someone else stepped from the shadows. Adanna's relief turned to horror. Park Minute J. Not restrained. Not threatened. Working with Dmitry. "No," she breathed. "You're a prosecutor. I'm my brother's keeper." His expression held no warmth now. "Kang Jae-won killed my brother 3 years ago. I've been building this case, gathering evidence. But legal justice takes too long. Dmitry offered me something better. Revenge. Everything you said about helping me was a lie." "Not entirely. After Jae-won is dead, I'll make sure you're sent home safely. You'll be free. Isn't that what you wanted?" "Not if it costs his life." The words came from her heart. Stockholm Syndrome. How predictable. Dmitry interrupted. "Enough talking. Time to send your husband his invitation." They positioned her, ripped her dress, took photos of her terrified and marked. She cried, pleaded. "Don't hurt him. Please. Take me, kill me, but don't." How touching. She loves the monster. They sent the photos to Jae-won's phone. Somewhere across Seoul, Jae-won received the images. Adanna could only imagine his rage, his fear. She knew with bone-deep certainty that he would come. He'd promised. And Kang Jae-won kept his promises. She just prayed he'd survive it. Hours crawled past. She worked at the zip ties, ignoring pain as she twisted and pulled. The Russians largely ignored her, confident in their trap. Dmitry reviewed the ambush plans. 50 men positioned throughout the warehouse. When Jae-won entered, they'd light him up from every angle. "He'll bring an army," one man said. "Let him." Dmitry smiled. "We have the advantage of position. And we have what he values most." Outside, engines roared. Shouting intensified. Then gunfire erupted, so much it sounded like war. Bullets punched through warehouse walls. Dmitry's men scattered for cover. The main door exploded inward in a shower of splinters and twisted metal. Through smoke and chaos, Adanna saw him. Jae-won moved like death itself, every shot precise, every movement calculated. His men flanked him, but he led from the front, taking the most risk. His eyes scanned desperately until they found her. Relief and fury crossed his face when their gazes met. He killed the man nearest her without hesitation, then cut her zip ties with a knife that appeared from nowhere. His hands shook as he freed her wrists. "Are you hurt?" His voice was hoarse, desperate. "No, she saw the blood on him. So much blood." "You're hurt." He pulled her against him, his heart hammering. "If they touched you, if they hurt you." "I'm okay. I'm okay." He drew back, checking her over with frantic hands. Then he saw the mark on her face where Dmitry had struck her. Something terrifying crossed his expression. "Who?" "It doesn't matter." "Who hit you?" "The Russian." "Dmitry." Jae-won's eyes went completely cold. He spotted Dmitry trying to escape through a back exit. He moved faster than should have been possible for someone losing blood, crossed the warehouse in seconds, grabbed Dmitry by the throat. "You touched my wife." His voice was lethal quiet. "Jae-won, please." Dmitry's confidence had evaporated. "You should have known better." He released Dmitry with a shove toward his men. Take him to his organization's leadership. Tell them if they ever threaten what's mine again, I'll erase them from existence. Gunfire reminded them the fight wasn't over. Jae-won shielded Adanna's body with his, then lifted her into his arms despite his injuries and carried her through the carnage. His men provided cover as they reached an armored SUV. He placed her inside carefully, then collapsed beside her. She caught him as he slumped, seeing how pale he'd become, how much blood soaked his clothes. Minho. She used his first name without thinking. Driver, hospital now. She pressed her hands against the worst wound on his side, trying to stop the bleeding. Stay with me. Please stay with me. His hand came up to touch her face, leaving a smear of blood on her cheek. Found you. Told you I would. You did. Now stay awake. We're going to the hospital. Love you, he said, words slurring. In case I don't get to say it again. I love you. Don't you dare. Tears streamed down her face. Don't you dare say goodbye. You promised me forever. You don't get to break that promise. He smiled faintly. Demanding woman. You're demanding woman. So you'd better survive this. His eyes drifted closed. She felt her world tilt sideways. The hospital was chaos. Doctors rushed Jae-won into surgery immediately while Adanna sat in a private waiting room, covered in his blood, shaking uncontrollably. His men surrounded her protectively, but she barely registered their presence. Hours passed. The sun set, then rose again. She refused to leave, refused food, refused everything except coffee that grew cold in her hands. A doctor finally emerged, looking exhausted. Mrs. Kang? She stood on shaking legs. Is he? His stable. The surgery went well. He lost significant blood, but he'll recover. He's incredibly strong. Most men wouldn't have survived what he endured. Relief hit so hard she nearly collapsed. One of Jae-won's men caught her arm, steadying her. Can I see him? He's sedated, but yes. Follow me. Jae-won looked smaller in the hospital bed, something she'd never thought possible. He'd always seemed so commanding, so powerful. Now he looked vulnerable with tubes and monitors attached, bandages wrapped around his torso and head. She pulled a chair beside his bed, took his hand carefully. It was still warm, still strong despite everything. You'd better wake up, she whispered. Because I have things to say and you need to hear them. I love you. I don't know when it happened. Maybe at the gala when you defended me. Maybe when you bought me those books. Maybe when you looked at me like I was the only thing that mattered. But I love you, Jae-won. So you have to wake up. You have to come back to me. His fingers twitched in hers. 3 days later, he woke. Adanna had fallen asleep in the chair beside his bed, head resting near his hand. He stirred, confused by his surroundings, and saw her first. Everything came rushing back. The attack, finding her in that warehouse, the terror that he'd been too late. He adjusted his hand, brushing her hair. She woke instantly. Jae-won. She stood so fast the chair toppled backward. Oh, thank God. How do you feel? Should I call the doctor? He caught her hand, pulling her closer despite his injuries' protest. You're here. Of course I'm here. Where else would I be? Safe. Somewhere far from me. I am safe. I'm with you. She touched his face carefully. I heard you when you were unconscious. I heard everything I said. You love me. I do. She kissed him softly, mindful of his injuries. I love you, Kang Jae-won. I love you so much it terrifies me. He pulled her down into a deeper kiss despite the pain. Don't ever scare me like that again. Me? You're the one who nearly died. Because I couldn't reach you fast enough. His voice roughened. When I saw those photos, when I thought they'd hurt you, I've been shot, stabbed, beaten within an inch of my life. None of it compared to the fear of losing you. What happens now? We leave Seoul. Start over somewhere safe. What if we didn't run? She met his eyes. What if we stayed and changed things? You have power, resources. What if you used them differently? Became the man I know you can be. You're asking me to go legitimate. I'm asking you to become the man who saved me. The man who wants to be better. Let's build something real. Something our children wouldn't be ashamed of. Children? His voice held wonder. Someday. If you want that. If you want a real life with me. I want everything with you. He kissed her again, deeper. I'll do it. All of it. For you. 6 months later, Seoul looked different through the windows of their new home. Smaller than the penthouse, suburban, normal. Adanna stood in the kitchen, visibly pregnant, cooking breakfast. Jae-won came up behind her, hands on her belly. Good morning, my loves. She's kicking. He spoke to her stomach in Korean, then English. I'll spend every day making sure you know you're loved. The doorbell rang. Adanna's mother had arrived from Nigeria, tears of joy in her eyes as she embraced her daughter. They'd done it. Jae-won had gone legitimate, testified against the remaining Russian operations, established the Kang Foundation to help at-risk youth. Adanna had graduated nursing school. They'd chosen each other freely, built a life worth living. That evening, they renewed their vows in a small church. Adanna wore simple white, pregnant and radiant. Jae-won wore traditional Korean hanbok, looking at her like she'd hung the moon. Adanna, you taught a monster to be human, he said through tears. You showed me light in darkness. I vow to spend every day earning your love, protecting through partnership not control, being the man our daughter will be proud to call father. I choose you. Always. Jae-won, you saved me by setting me free, she responded. You showed me that strength is opening doors, not closing them. I vow to stand beside you, remind you of your goodness, love you through every change. I choose you. Always. Their kiss tasted like new beginnings. Later, in their daughter's nursery decorated with Nigerian and Korean art, they sat together. His hand rested on her belly where their daughter kicked. Do you ever regret how we started? She asked. Never. Every dark moment led us here. He kissed her temple. You're my redemption. And you're mine. We saved each other. Their daughter kicked again, as if agreeing. Amora, Adanna said softly. It means grace in Igbo. Because grace brought us together. Amora Kang. Perfect. They sat as sunset painted Seoul gold, holding each other, holding their future. They hadn't gotten a fairy tale beginning. But they'd built a fairy tale ending. And every day, they chose it again. Love isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's forged in fire, tested by blood, built from broken pieces. But when two people truly choose each other, that's when love becomes unbreakable. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our Afro-Korean Stories family. Drop a comment telling me which moment made your heart race. Was it the forced wedding, the rescue, or the moment Adanna realized she loved her captor? And smash that like button if you want more stories where love blooms in the darkest places. Your girl has more dramatic, passionate, unforgettable stories coming, and you don't want to miss them. See you in the next one, besties.